Alex Caceres versus Giga Chikadze takes place this weekend on the prelims of UFC Fight Night Vegas 8, Smith versus Rakic, and I don't understand why this fight is on the prelims because I'm really looking forward to it, and in my opinion, this is a main card worthy fight, or if it is going to be on the prelims, at least let it headline the prelims, but no, we're far down the prelims for some bizarre reason with Alex Caceres versus Giga Chikadze. Giga Chikadze, of course, everyone's been talking about him recently. Decent enough record coming into the UFC, credentialed in kickboxing very highly, glory fights, had amazing performances over there, has an amazing kickboxing record as well. A lot of people have been very high on Giga Chikadze for quite some time, and recently he's put together a 5-fight win streak, 3 of them being in the UFC, and when you put together 3 wins in the UFC, regardless of who they're against and how close they might be, you're somewhat good of a fighter. I'm willing to give that to Giga Chikadze. He is a great talent to have in that. And then you've got Alex Caceres. On the other hand, a veteran. I mean, we kind of see this story time and time again in the MMA world. I feel like I've done so many of these videos where you've got the young up-and-comer. Well, not young, because, you know, Alex Caceres started in the game when he was a very young guy. But in terms of experience in MMA, because I feel like they might be the same age here. 33 for a... They're both the same age, 32 years of age. Okay, well... It's very clear, though, that Alex Caceres is the clear veteran. He's had more than a decade of experience inside MMA compared to Giga Chikadze. He's the new face coming into the scene. Alex Caceres is the old guard, trying to hold him off like he always does. Alex Caceres has taken on the job of not the gatekeeper. I don't want to call Alex Caceres a gatekeeper. He's like... The pathway keeper to the gate that gets you to those, like, he's not even, he's like the mini gate towards the overall gate that gets you into that same scheme, because I don't think it's quite fair to consider Alex Caceres, you know, up that high in the division, but he still beats a lot of the bottom feeders, and he doesn't let too many guys through, and the guys that he does let through, you've got to admit, are pretty good names. I mean, you look at Alex Caceres' record, Kron Gracie, 4-0 at the time. Obviously, it's Kron Gracie, so that 4-0 seems a little bit more magnificent. Guan Wang, 19-1, when he fought Alex Caceres, beat him by split decision. 19-1, hasn't fought since. I don't know what happened to that guy. He might be dead, in which case, rest in peace. Jason Knight, who was 18-2 at the time. Yair Rodriguez, who was 9-1 at the time. Oyerin, by the way, that was a split decision. These are the last losses on Alex Caceres' record. I don't know if I consider Giga Chikadze in that same realm. After his last few performances, I know I said at the start of the video, regardless of who they're against and how those fights go, you're still good if you can win 3 in a row in the UFC, but come on, Giga Chikadze, if you're going to be a heavy favourite here, and you're going to convince me that you're going to beat Alex Caceres, which in my opinion you should be an underdog against, I'm picking Alex Caceres, because Giga Chikadze, if you're going to convince me, please don't go to a split decision with Brandon Davis on short notice. Please don't go to a split decision with Jamal Emmers when Jamal Emmers takes it on short notice. Please don't go to a somewhat competitive unanimous decision with bantamweight Irwin Rivera, who's basically a flyweight anyway, on short notice. Please don't make things that close. And when we look through Giga Chikadze's career, I think there's a very clear sign of a talent level that he has not yet faced. Now, Giga Chikadze is an amazing fighter, very credentialed in kickboxing, but it's very clear to me, even in kickboxing, though, he's lost to some bums. I was looking for his kickboxing record. He's lost to some guys with some not so good records, but obviously it's kickboxing. You're going to lose a few more fights if you have 100 of them, like Giga Chikadze did. But still, you look at some of these recorded opponents. He fights a guy in his debut who is 4-1. He loses by unanimous decision. And he takes on a guy who was 0-0, making their debut, which makes him 1-1. Then he takes on a guy who was 1-0 or 1-1, somewhere similar to his record. No, he takes on a guy who is 1-10. Yeah, no, takes on a guy who is 1-10. Then he takes on a guy, surely a step up in competition, right? You've beaten 2 guys in a row. The last guy was 1-10. Surely you will not disgrace us with another absolute can for you to beat to pad your record even further. He fights a guy who's 0-13. And 0. There's no draws on that record. That's just 0-13 and 0. 13 losses, no wins. Time for a jump up in competition, right, Giga Chikadze? Okay, let's give him a huge jump up in competition. The most difficult opponent of his career so far since his recent win streak against absolute cans. Let's give him a guy who's only 0-1. Not even making their debut, coming off a loss. Wins that one. Cool, Giga Chikadze. Really credentialed kickboxer. You're really testing yourself so far in your career, aren't you? That shows your confidence level. 4-1. Time for a big jump up in competition. This is actually a real big jump up in competition. The guy's making his debut. He hasn't lost 10 or 31 times. I mean, or 13 times. It doesn't really matter at this point, but still a jump up there for Giga Chikadze. And then a guy who's 2-31. That's where I was thinking of the 31 from. Then a guy who's 2-31, then a guy who's 0-1, then the only real competition you faced ever in your career. Not to mention, you lost to Austin Springer, who was 10-3 at the time, by a rear naked choke in the third round. I don't mean to just completely tear into Giga Chikadze here, but come on. You're a dominant favourite over Alex Caceres. Did we not just see this with Chase Hooper, which was... I mean... I picked him, and I feel like I've learnt my lesson. Alex Caceres has still got it. He's on a 2-fight win streak right now. I think he's going to go out there and beat Giga Chikadze. Look at this. 10-3, you lost to him. You lost to a guy who was 4-1 in your debut. Like, there's a clear level here that you're struggling with. You fight a 10-7 Brandon Davis on short notice as your debut fight. And you take him to a split decision. He's cut from the UFC now. Jamal Emmers takes it on short notice against you. You go to a split decision. Like, it's really not what I want to see out of a guy who I'm supposed to believe in. To go out there and what? Dominate Alex Caceres? Does he beat Alex Caceres by split decision? Would you consider Alex Caceres on the same level as Brandon Davis? Because I'm sure, I know MMA math doesn't work like that, but surely there's a level here that we can see. Erwin Rivera was a weight division below, still made that fight somewhat interesting, even though it was one of the better performances in Giga Chikadze's career. Still a guy who was 9-4 at the time, and barely won his next fight in the UFC by a close decision that could have gone either way in a weight class below. I just don't know why he's such a huge favourite. I feel like they're walking into a trap. Alex Caceres is going to beat him, but let's talk about the technique. I like Giga Chikadze's style. I think he's very good. He's got a very stinging jab. We saw that in the Brandon Davis fight. He was starting to sting Brandon Davis with a jab, use that range. He's very good with his jab, steps right into it. He has a lot of power behind it as well. It's a very crisp jab, stings you right on the nose. Very crisp, was landing it all night against Brandon Davis. A very good performance there. Good leg kicks as well, but he doesn't really go to them too often, but he does have good leg kicks. He doesn't really slam away like you'd expect a kickboxer come into MMA. You know, obviously it's not... I mean, I just feel like they would throw it more. Obviously, at this point in Giga Chikadze's career, he's still worried about being taken down, which is a huge deal, because obviously that's going to make him a little bit more reserved when coming to throwing leg kicks, because he doesn't seem to do them too much. At one point, he started to do them a lot against Brandon Davis, but he was just kind of... They were toying with each other. They were both kicking each other's legs and telling each other to kick each other's legs, and that. It was kind of a little game moment, but game... Like a little game they played together. That sounded off. But still, I don't think Giga Chikadze's going to win. He's got good combinations. Alex Caceres has got awkward movement. You're talking about a guy in Alex Caceres who, for a while, has lost the majority of his fights from guys trying to take him down or trying to submit him. You know, and other than that, he seems to look really, really good on the feet, and you're giving him an opponent who's not even going to be looking to try and take him down in Giga Chikadze. I mean, I'm sure Giga Chikadze will shoot a takedown maybe here or there if he is losing the fight, but still, Alex Caceres is going to fight a guy who doesn't want to take him down and who has gone to split decision. I don't even think this is an underdog pick. I don't even think I'm going to take credit for this. I think Alex Caceres wins, man. I don't see what Giga Chikadze's doing that's so amazing. I really don't see it whatsoever. I mean, Alex Caceres has fought great opponents, beaten good opponents as well. 11-1. I mean, just compare record-wise to Giga Chikadze's record here. 11-1, 17-8, 9-0 in his last 3 wins. Giga Chikadze, like, it's just a little bit different, you know? I know Jamal Emmers is a decent win, but he took it on short notice. You went to a split decision. It's just worrying to me, and I feel like if Alex Caceres wants to go out there and take these things to the ground, I think he can do that as well. He can take things to the ground. You've seen that in Alex Caceres' career. He has submission wins in his career. Remember in The Ultimate Fighter only a decade ago, by the way, he was submitting guys on The Ultimate Fighter 2 in a row on there. That was great performances. I don't think it's a good matchup for Giga Chikadze right now in his career. I feel like they should have maybe matched him up with a Steven Peterson, who Alex Caceres beat, by the way, but I reckon they could maybe match him up with him. That would be a fun fight. Steven Peterson comes forward. He's tough. He's not very technical or good, but he's tough and he's scrappy. Maybe that would have been a better matchup for Giga Chikadze, but I just feel like this is a little bit too much too soon. I like the momentum right now for Alex Caceres. For a while, he's been 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 2 losses in a row, but now he's on a 2-fight win streak. He's actually got a chance to reignite his career at the ripe old age of 32, just before he exits his prime. If he wins this one, you're talking about Alex Caceres versus a guy who's going to get him towards the rankings next. That's the level of fight that we're looking at here. I think Alex Caceres goes out there and gets a unanimous decision win, mixing in the takedowns where he wants. Also, Giga Chikadze likes to do a lot of work on that lead leg, although he is quite reserved with his leg kicks. He likes to kick the legs, likes to have a bit of range finding. I feel like every time he does that, Alex Caceres, who's not going to be worrying about takedowns, is so light on that lead leg. Great front kicks off the lead leg, lifts it up to a nice switch kick to the head off the lead leg out of nowhere. Like, he's very light on that lead leg. He moves backwards a lot. He's always moving. I don't think that the simple style with Giga Chikadze is going to be able to work around the funkiness of Alex Caceres. I just don't see it happening. I've watched both of their fights last night, up late last night, watched both of their fights. I just don't see it. And not only do I not see it, I don't see a fucking massive favourite in Giga Chikadze. That's what I definitely don't see. And if I've known anything about these past few cards, Trevin Jones can beat Timo Valiev. You know what I mean? So, I'm going with Alex Caceres here. I think this is one of the better underdogs on the card, in my opinion. I might look foolish again. I may walk into a wall face first like I have done in over the past 2 cards. But I feel as though, if I was looking for an underdog on this card, it would be Alex Caceres and Ion Cutelaba. And I'm going with both of them. The power double. We're going to get things done. The resurrection is upon us. Thank you for watching. I just feel as though Alex Caceres is going to be a little bit too loose on the feet. Push the pace a little bit as well. Although Giga Chikadze likes to keep his own pace. But you saw in the Brandon Davis fight, he did look like he started to slow down. And if Brandon Davis can go out there and land some of the shots he was landing. Because in the 3rd round, he was landing on Giga Chikadze. Straight right hand, square on the chin. You've got Alex Caceres here, who's got longer range. In my opinion, would beat up Brandon Davis pretty handily. I don't know. I'm going to go with Alex Caceres for sure. Unanimous decision win. Click that button there. Goodbye.